If you're a marketer or content creator, you know the struggle of repurposing content across platforms. You've got great content on YouTube, for example, but to turn that video into search engine optimized assets like blog posts can be time consuming and expensive. Not to mention when you use mainstream corporate AIs, they're training their models on your data, meaning your content strategy becomes all but public for future users. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through building a privacy first AI automation that will turn your YouTube video transcripts into blog posts. We'll be using Venice AI for this tutorial, which is excellent for this use case for two reasons. Number one, it's totally private. It's not sharing your data anywhere. Doesn't even have servers it hosts it on. The conversations are stored in your browser. And number two, because you can get API credits with Venice that refreshes day after day, so you don't have to keep buying it. And these savings do eventually stack up, especially if you're creating or repurposing content day after day. By the end of this video, you'll have a workflow that can take a YouTube video, extract the transcript, and generate a publication-ready blog post, all while keeping your content private and your costs predictable. Let's dive in. So what I'm going to show you today is an N8N workflow that takes a YouTube video URL, it extracts the audio from that video, transcribes it with a service of your choice, then uses Venice AI models to process through the transcript, write a search engine optimized blog post, and then send it right back to you in the chat. So as you can see here, just a moment ago, I sent this URL link, which is on the Venice AI YouTube channel, and it's converted it to a blog post for us, including the title, the category, the tags, and then you can copy and paste it into your blog backend to publish your post. Okay, so we're going to be using this N8N workflow. I'm going to walk you through step by step, and I'll show you how it works real quick. I just take a YouTube URL of any video. I'll choose this one from the Venice AI YouTube channel. Subscribe now if you like tutorials on how to use AI privately. And I paste it here into the N8N chat window. I send it. And sometimes the visuals will work all the way through. Sometimes it won't. But as you can see right now, we are using what's called YouTube-DLP to download the URL and convert it to MP3. And that's an open source script. I'll put the GitHub link down below. You can see it's downloading there. And once that's done, then we will read the MP3 output from the server. Then we will transcribe it. And then the AI agent powered by Venice AI we'll use two different models here, Venice Large to analyze the transcript and Venice Small to make sure it's structured properly when we output it to our final nodes, which then sends it back here into the chat, which we're going to see here soon. The chat is going to send the final blog post. Oh, great. So there we go. Transcribed with Gemini. And there it is. Title, Your Money, Your Privacy, How to Analyze Finances with Truly Private AI, Venice AI. Category, Personal Finance Technology. Tags, AI, Financial Privacy, Budgeting Tools, Data Security, Venice AI. We've got an intro here. We've got headers. We've got lists. And we've got a nice little post for our website. And even though our video came from Google and may have been transcribed with Google, it was processed and written by an AI that's not going to store your data, and it's not going to keep it there and train its new models on your data for future generations. Basically, all the content you're creating on OpenAI's or Anthropic's models are just being saved to be trained on, so your content strategy just goes into the ethers forever. With Venice, you can keep that content strategy a bit more private. So let's walk through how this automation works and how to get it set up. So first off, you're going to need N8N. Now, the simplest way to do this is to go to n8n.io and you can start paying $20 a month for their hosted option. You could also go to Hostinger and it's a bit cheaper, or you can even host N8N on a Cloudron instance. Once you're logged into your N8N instance, you can create a new workflow, click this ... and import the JSON file that you can find linked below in this video, and soon you'll see this same workflow here on your computer. Now we're going to walk through this step by step so you can understand it, see exactly what you need to do to get started. The first node here is a trigger node. We're using the N8N interface as a trigger node, but you could make a webhook from your website. That could be your trigger node, and you would just attach it there and delete this one. You can have multiple triggers. You could have a trigger happen after a type form, after a calendar is scheduled. It can be an MCP server trigger, an email trigger, whatever it is. You can use anything you want. But here we have it very simple and the easiest one there is, which is just the chat node trigger. Then this node just basically creates a timestamp. So then when YouTube-DLP downloads the file, it uses that timestamp to name the file so there aren't any doubles or duplicates in the server. And that will save the file onto the server. And then we will read the output in just a minute and send it to the transcription service. But real quick, in this second task here, let's talk about what the ultimate goal of this task is. YouTube-DLP is not the simplest to install. You need to install this YouTube transcript node for N8N and the YouTube transcription library. There are videos all over YouTube on how to do this, but it is not the simplest way to go about this if you're new to N8N. So something that could perhaps be easier is you could use an API of a web scraper, such as Apify. Apify has its own node inside of N8N, and it offers what are called actors. So Apify is a web scraping platform with all different actors that help you scrape different services, including YouTube. So if this made more sense for you, you could instead use the Apify API with an HTTP node, sending a post request to the Apify platform with your API key, and would accomplish the same job. You would actually basically just skip this whole section, and then it would just go straight from here to there. We delete this, boom. And then it does that on its own, and we isolate this, okay? Or you could use a YouTube transcript node. This is what I was showing you earlier, the YouTube transcript node for N8N. Once you install the YouTube-DLP library on your server or on your local machine, wherever you're running N8N, then all you do right here is type in the video URL, or you just have it come as a trigger from our first chat node. And then in that case, I would just link it there. So the point is, there are multiple ways to scrape your transcript. You may already have your transcript from another service, in which case you can just paste your transcript into here, eliminate all of this. We'll move that down there, for example, and we can just link the trigger straight to the AI agent. And we can eliminate all of this. So it all just depends on how you're sourcing your transcript. So we'll put that back. Okay, so next up we have the actual transcription. Same thing here. Now, at the time of me recording this, Venice doesn't have a speech-to-text model. So our options are using Whisper by OpenAI. We could use Google Gemini, or we could use DeepGram. Whisper is OpenAI's transcription model, and that requires an API key from OpenAI. Google Gemini requires an API key from Google AI Studio. And DeepGram will give you an API key as well, and chances are you'll get some free credits to play around with. Now, your YouTube video is already on the internet, so you probably don't need to worry about that being too private. If you do want privacy though, transcribing with DeepGram is going to be the way to go, because you see MIP_opt_out, value true. If you use this parameter in your API call, you will opt out of their model training program. So you will pay more for your transcription, but they're not keeping the data that you're sending them for transcription. So make sure you add your API keys in a new credential for either Gemini, OpenAI, or DeepGram. So we make sure that our audio extraction task is connected to the transcription model we want to use, and then we connect that next to the Venice AI processing task. Now here comes the meat of this whole workflow and the artificially intelligent aspect of it, and that is using Venice AI to process our transcript. Now, why use Venice AI? It is a private and uncensored AI that doesn't want to judge you, doesn't want to store your data and train on it. It is also private, end-to-end encrypted, and they don't hang on to any of your data. So the reason you would want to use Venice AI in this case is because if you're crafting a content strategy, that content strategy, when you're crafting it on ChatGPT or Claude, that's being trained into their next model. So if anyone else has a similar brand or is trying something similar, they might get very similar results to your brand. And your content strategy isn't very secret anymore. Now, maybe that doesn't matter to you, and that's okay, because the Venice model pricing is very reasonable for the results you get and for the quality of some of these big models. Venice Large, which is Qwen 3 235B, is what we're going to use here. It has a $4.50 output price per million tokens at the time of me recording this. So when Venice Large is used to process the transcript for this AI agent, you won't have to worry about breaking the bank. So in order to use the Venice AI API, you're going to need a pro account. It's well worth the cost, $18 a month at the time of this recording. You not only get to use the more advanced AI models, but you get to create characters, remove limits from your free account, remove image watermarks, upscale your images, and more. Then once you're logged in on your pro account, you can just click API in the menu bar, and you can see the API credits available to you. You can either purchase these credits with dollars or stake the DM token, which gives you API inference that resets daily. Click generate a new API key, call it something like N8N blog generator. And once you get that, you're going to copy it into your Venice AI credential. And don't forget to change the base URL to Venice AI's base URL, but it's still using the OpenAI N8N node. We have Venice Large here selected. If we click the drop down, we can see all the models available currently on the Venice AI API. So what the AI agent does, AI agent has a prompt and a system message. So the prompt itself is going to say, create a blog post from the following video transcript, identify key themes, structure the content logically, and generate a title, category, and tags that are also sprinkled in throughout the post. Here we go, transcript, and that is calling the JSON content that is output from the node right before. Meanwhile, the AI agent also has a system message saying you're an expert content strategist and editor. Transform raw video scripts into well-structured, engaging blog posts. And so we have just some system instructions there, how to format the content. And the more detailed you get with this for your own purposes, the better. For example, if we're using this for Venice AI all the time, you work for a private AI service company whose mission is to make unrestricted intelligence available to all. You use a tone like, etc., etc. So the more refined you make your system prompt here, the more your output is going to match your brand voice. And then the AI agent connects to Venice Large. Now, this is an OpenAI chat model that we attach to the agent, but all we do to use Venice AI is create a new credential that uses the Venice API base URL, api.venice.ai/API/v1. And finally, we give an output parser to our AI agent to give us options to send our data as JSON data in case we want to change our output destination to perhaps some kind of software or service or API that requires JSON formatting. So this structured output parser uses Venice Small, which is much cheaper and quicker. It doesn't need to make big decisions. It doesn't need to be as intelligent with all the parameters. Venice Small is a great model for something like that. Just make sure the formatting is good. And then we have one last node that just combines all the data from previous, puts it all together. So our final node can then respond to us, hey, I've converted your YouTube video into a blog post. Here it is. Now, if you're clever enough, you can add another output destination here, and you could perhaps send this JSON data, and instead of sending just text like in a message here, you could send out pure JSON data in an API request to your app or to another API service that would use it, or an AI agent. And then when all is said and done, we post this to our blog and we have a published post. So there you have it. I hope this video was helpful. There's a powerful automation for you to use to repurpose your content like a pro. Remember to sign up for a Venice AI Pro account so you can keep your content strategy private and not worrying about it being duplicated across the internet, at least not anytime soon. And if you value your online privacy, don't forget to hit subscribe to keep learning about new ways you can build with private and uncensored API AI inference. See you soon.